Welcome to Morning Java, brought to you by our friends at Get Go Cafe and Market, as usual. I'm Dale Lally here with Dejan Kovakovic, and Dejan's showing off the Steelers smoothies, which are, of course, featured.
They're on the back of the Steelers Digest, yeah.
Yeah, a big featured item of the Get Go's.
Steel Curtain smoothie, which I've had, and is really, really good. And the Cam Hayward Berry Blitz, which if Cam is in earshot around here, is even better, Cam. They're outstanding.
But we're here, it's day two. We just wrapped up day two of Steelers OTAs. And as I think as we expected, the guy who was here for day two of Steelers OTAs, Ben Roethlisberger, which he didn't do last year.
And that can both, well, I was going to say help and hurt. No, it just hurts if he's not here. It helps that he is here. You can roll your eyes sometimes at this stuff and say, well, it's voluntary. He's been in the league for a million years. What does he need this for? It's not about him, is it?
Right. It's about the other guys, the guys that he is working with out there, and with guys like James Washington stepping into a larger role this year, with Dante Moncrief coming in, not having ever worked with Ben Roethlisberger before. Same with Deontay Johnson. I think he felt it was important for him to be here, and not just be here, but take those guys down south. To Georgia last week. I asked James Washington about that today. What a benefit that was to a guy like him. He admitted last year he was walking on eggshells whenever he was around Ben Roethlisberger because they had no connection. Now they have a bit more of a connection.
And in the literal sense, they didn't have a connection because there's a reason that Ben and James not having any literal actual pass completions in an OTA, zero. Then you go into the preseason and you see Mason Rudolph being the one that has the chemistry with him. That's wonderful if you're watching a preseason game in Charlotte,
or if you're still
North
at Oklahoma
Carolina,
State.
or you're at Oklahoma State. It doesn't matter because once you got to the regular season, Ben and James Washington had virtually no hookup. They had no anything. And then when the ball did get to James Washington, he wasn't doing the things that they know that he can do, the combat catch thing. So it makes a difference, not just with him.
It certainly does, and we'll see that play out. I expect Ben Roethlisberger to be here, if not for all of these things, for the majority of them, just like us. Dejan, as you would expect, all eyes have been on Devin Bush these first couple of days, and I don't think he's disappointed. I don't think the Steelers have been disappointed at all with him. In fact, they've thrown him right into the fire. He's out there not only playing inside linebacker with the first team, he's making play calls.
Yeah,
and I think it's a big step for a guy who's still 20 years old.
And these guys, this is what I like the best so far. And you have to understand, this is football in shorts. They're not tackling. All those things that Mike Tomlin says about these sessions, it's all true times 10. This kid is getting rave reviews from his fellow inside linebackers. I got to tell you, in the world of professional sports, yes, there's a team concept, but there's also individual battles. And with a rookie, especially a really young one, the default mode for these guys is always going to be to hedge a little bit. Well, he's a rookie. Take it easy on him. That is not what is happening here. Vince Williams came off the field after the second day of OTAs and was just saying, I'm just really, really impressed with him. He seems really intelligent, ambitious. It almost sounds like they want him right away.
I think
his teammates.
Yeah,
not the Steelers.
I think they understand the importance of what he can bring to this defense. It's a little different than what you saw with Lawrence Timmons when he came in 2007. I think Bush's personality is much different than Lawrence. In fact, I know it is, just having been around him a few times. Lawrence was quiet. Lawrence was not a natural leader. I think Bush is I think he's a natural leader.
LT was very comfortable in the shadow and following. Not to take nothing away from his character.
It just wasn't his personality.
Or his drive on the football field. It's a matter of how. But we keep doing this, and I think it's fair. And as long as the Steelers are going to do it, I'm going to do it too. The other guy that reminds you of is Ryan Shazier. Now, the one thing that keeps coming up, and a lot of that's our fault. We have to ask questions about Antonio Brown. We have to ask questions about the drama and everything else. What I love, Dale, and I mean underscore all capital letters love, is that they've been so forthright. They are not saying, hey, you know what, that's in the past, that's done. You ask them about Antonio Brown. You ask a specific question about AB. something that he said or whatever. They're not saying, hey, I'm not talking. They're just, it's almost like they got together before this and said, let's just
Get it out
all
there.
out of the way,
End all the questions now. If you take on all the questions now about it, then you don't have to answer them at the start of training camp.
Or
you don't have
heck,
to
mini camp.
Or 2 weeks from now.
Why should
Yeah.
they? I think that once you get to 3 weeks from now, and you just say, hey, look, we did all that in OTAs. How many times do you want to ask us? Not that we ever advocate that sort of behavior from athletes. Always answer all of our questions. But they can do that, and I think that's smart. And I happen to think that it's maybe just a little bit
It's not a coincidence.
preconceived.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
a coincidence. I think they did get together. I think some of the team leaders, maybe met with Mike Tomlin or came up with this on their own and said, "Hey guys, here's how we're going to handle this. We're going to take on these questions. We're going to handle them like professionals, and then we're going to move on." They have to. They have to turn the page on 2018. It's behind them. They can't change anything that's happened at this point, but they can make a difference on what happens in 2019.
Now, is that, do you think, going to carry over possibly to, let's say, for example, hypothetically, that number 84 is a complete space cadet and spends his entire 2019 season continually badgering the Steelers or his former teammates, which can't be ruled out. Do they respond? Or are they just going to say, look, you know what? Again, he's part of 2018. We're done talking about it.
I think if it's me, I let him do what he's going to do. You have no control over it, but you do again have control over how you respond to his ridiculousness. And so if he wants to continue to hold that grudge, if he wants to continue to be that guy putting tweets out there that it don't make any sense, not that any of his tweets make sense, let him be that guy. I think when somebody's being a fool, why stop them? Let them show everybody that, hey, this guy, you've been saying this guy's a fool, now he's proving it.
Yeah, and you just stand back and stay quiet and you rise above it. Yeah, I think that's maybe the most compelling tack that they can take. I still, Terrell Edmonds still has to answer questions here. Now, that's not to suggest he, is going to get, tormented or tortured over it, but he does have to explain stuff, and he has not been available to the media these couple of days. In fact, right as we're standing here, he was basically escorted off the field by Bert Loughton from the Steelers Public Relations Department. And at some point, they're going to want to get that one out of the way.
You got to face the music.
Yeah. Had to get that.